All my life, I always felt the need to hurry up. Feeling like I was behind everybody else. I was feeling like I needed to make more money, have more likes, more views, and just be successful right now. I was always so desperate to be successful straight away, so I could justify my existence to me and to others, and to prove that I wasn't just a waste of breath. But lately, something has changed. I'm feeling now that I want to slow down. Hey everyone, Gael here. For those who don't know me, I am an indie developer and I am currently working on a 90s inspired survival horror game with a modern twist called Silent Corruption. In this video, I want to try something a bit different. Instead of the usual talk to the camera setup that I've been doing, I thought it would be a bit interesting to just put some footage of my work in the background and do a voiceover. Because if I'm honest, I haven't been satisfied with my previous videos. I feel like I was trying to make videos that weren't fully true to me. I was kind of forcing myself to be this high energy person, trying to entertain, and I was thinking that was just supposed to be doing on YouTube. But the thing is, the topics I want to discuss don't really match that vibe, because I want to make content that feels like more chill and laid back, and I want to dive into more thoughtful personal subjects. And that kind of energy doesn't really fit what I want to do. So making videos started to feel more like it was a chore rather than something I enjoy, because I was trying too hard to fit on a box that wasn't mine. So I've taken a bit of time off YouTube because I wanted to rethink a bit the kind of content I wanted to do or how I wanted to do it. Because I kind of started just uploading videos without a goal or direction in mind. I mean, I kind of knew more or less the things I wanted to talk about, but yeah, it was a bit all over the place. And I feel that this format with voiceover and footage aligns a bit better with the kind of content I actually want to create. Because I don't know, it feels a bit more genuine than talking to the microphone instead of talking to the camera. Because I am a natural introvert with mild social anxiety, and talking to the camera, it feels a bit intimidating and weird and a bit unnatural. And talking to a microphone feels more like I'm just thinking aloud. And also I want to use this opportunity to show off my work, because I know it sounds silly, but it kind of makes me feel more like I am a real developer, because I am usually talking about my game, but I don't really show that much what I'm doing, because it's a bit difficult to show my work just with pictures. Work in progress and stuff like that. So yeah, it makes me feel a bit more like a real developer, because I am showing proof that I'm actually working on my game and not just talking about it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just wanted to give this format a shot, and I hope you also enjoy it as well. So yeah, back to the topic of this video. As I said, I always have this overwhelming feeling that I needed to hurry up and just be successful now, and have my life put together now. And looking back, I can understand why I was feeling like this all the time. I've already talked about this a bit in my previous videos, but basically during my childhood and my 20s, I felt stuck every day. I was in an environment that was very toxic. I had constant emotional abuse, and every day felt like I needed to walk on eggshells. Harsh words thrown at me constantly that cut very deep and left invisible wounds. And this weight of criticism and manipulation, it just hung over me like a storm. And I just wanted to leave every day. I was honestly in a very dark place back then, and having any sort of stability was nearly impossible. So everyone around me was miles ahead. They were building careers, buying homes, starting families, and just living life that looked so put together. And meanwhile, I felt like I was standing still while the rest of the world just raced ahead. And this feeling of being behind was crushing. I felt inferior as if I wasn't good enough or working hard enough. And it didn't matter how much effort I put in, it always felt like nothing I did could bridge the gap between me and other people. I couldn't help but compare myself, and each comparison made me feel smaller, like, I was failing at life simply because I wasn't on the same timeline. So, and yeah, I just wanted so desperately to make it, to be successful at something so I could live my life on my own terms, but no matter what I did, it never felt enough. I constantly battled with the feeling that I was just a waste of breath. I felt like I had to prove to everyone, including myself, that I had to justify my existence. Like, I wasn't allowed to simply be. Because if I wasn't doing something important, then surely I was just a burden, right? I was just taking up a space for no reason at all. So yeah, due to living in this toxic and unstable environment, and also due to some disabilities that I didn't know I had at the time, having consistent work was very difficult, which made it incredibly difficult to gain the stability and resources I needed to start or continue any personal or professional project. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to have my own business. Not because I was particularly drawn to be an entrepreneur, but because I needed the freedom to create my own routine. I always found it difficult to hold down what you would consider a normal job, especially the ones that you had to work shift, because my body and mind require a very structured daily routine to function properly, and I also need a lot of time to recover afterwards. And most jobs available for me were shift-based, and the ever-changing hour threw off my rhythm completely. Mornings, for example, are rough because I usually need at least 2 hours to fully wake up and adjust to the day. And if I'm forced to deal with noise or bright lights immediately after waking up, I often end up with a headache that lingers for the rest of the day. So a rush morning doesn't just make me uncomfortable, it makes the entire day miserable. And it's not just about mornings. Working long hours with little recovery time meant that I was constantly exhausted. I was unable to recharge properly before the next shift. And that cycle of working, barely recovering, and then being thrown into another unpredictable schedule just made everything feel impossible to sustain. On top of that, I've always had a strong resistance to being told what to do, which is something that, as I later realized, is part of my demand avoidance, which is a trait linked to my autism. And this is because I like to figure out things on my own, at my own pace, and I rarely ask for help. And when I do, it's only because I really need it, and usually only from people I trust. So the structure of a normal job clashed with me on almost every level. The changing shifts, the long hours, the lack of autonomy, it all felt suffocating. And no matter how much I wanted success, forcing myself into that kind of environment was like trying to fit into a mold that was never made for me. So of course, because I was always feeling like a failure, that I couldn't do anything, I was always pushing myself too hard because I wanted to hurry up and make it. I was constantly feeling guilty whenever I took a break or did something else, because every moment I spent resting just felt like I was wasting my time. I was being lazy. I wasn't doing enough. And on top of that, I have a very black and white way of thinking. And in my mind, if I didn't see some sort of results rather quickly, it meant that I wasn't doing it well, or I wasn't cut out for it. It was like no in between. And instead of seeing struggles and a slow process as part of the problem, I just saw them as proof that I should quit because I wasn't good enough, I wasn't gonna make it, I was just wasting my time. And I quit long before I ever gave myself a real chance. And I will go into that cycle of starting something very excited, thinking that this was the one thing that it was finally going to make me successful, working very hard on it because I wanted to prove to myself and to others that I was useful, and I was doing something important, and I was something that I was going to go somewhere, and I was going to make me successful, and I work really hard on it. I will work on it as long as I can, every hour of the day that I could. I will, of course, burn myself out because I was putting so much pressure on myself, and eventually quit, and then after a while starting over with another project, and this will continue endlessly. And while starting a project can feel exciting, it's also so disruptive at the same time, because you have to start basically from scratch. You have to figure out a lot of things, and it just makes you feel like you are always at the beginning of your life or your career or your path. And of course that makes you feel like you're a failure because you can never stick to anything. You know that you can't truly do anything worthwhile or important. Another thing I used to believe is that success has a formula, one that has been already figured out by others. So instead of trying to carve my own path, I kept trying to follow the footsteps of other people who had made it. So I kept changing formulas, step-by-step plans, but of course, no matter how much I copied their approach, it never quite worked for me. And looking back, they could have never worked for me or my situation. The problem was that their path wasn't mine. What worked for them didn't work for me. And I was just feeling scattered and directionless. I had no clear vision, no sense of identity in my work, because I was just too afraid to trust my own instincts, and I was too scared to just do things my own way because I was afraid people would turn against me or reject me in some way. For years, I just felt this pressure to do things the right way, to just follow these unspoken rules. So yeah, I held back, I filtered myself, I was trying to be the person I was supposed to be, but of course, in doing so, I was also silencing my real voice. Flash forward to now, and while I'm still not exactly where I want to be in life, things now are different, better. Now, I'm learning to allow myself to just be me. I want to be successful, creating something that aligns with who I am. The people that I admire got where they are by doing things on their own way. It's time that I do the same. That means embracing all the parts of myself, even the ones I used to fight against. My slow mornings, my need for a structure on my own terms, my dislike for traditional jobs, the way I process things at my own pace. None of these are flaws, they're just me. So instead of pushing myself to work in ways that drains me, I'm figuring out how to build a life that works for me. Success isn't about changing myself to fit the world. I think it's more about shaping the world to fit me and my needs. So now I realize that true connection comes from showing up as I really am, without trying to mold myself into something more palatable. Not everyone will resonate with what I create, but that's okay. The right people will. So I'm learning to giving myself the freedom to create what feels true to me, to express myself honestly, and to trust that the people who are meant to connect with my work will find it, and that's enough. I am also learning that slow progress is still progress. I am only human. I can only do so much. And creative work takes time. Making a game is damn difficult. And this is going to take a long time. So slow progress doesn't mean I am not good enough. It doesn't mean that I lack talent. It doesn't mean anything, mind you. It's just part of the progress, and either say how it's supposed to be. So I keep reminding myself that slow progress is still progress. Just do a bit every time, rest when you need to, and memento mori. Don't take things so seriously, just enjoy what you can. I am learning to allow myself to fail. I am aware that despite all my passion, effort, and hard work, I might still fail and never reach the level of success I envision. And while that reality sucks, I'm learning to be okay with it. I'm learning that failure doesn't mean I'm incompetent. It's just part of the process, as cliche as it sounds, because failure isn't a reflection of my worth of abilities. It's just simply a step along the way to growth. The most successful people I admire didn't get there by avoiding failure. They got there by learning from it, adapting, and trying again. Trying, not accomplishing it, and learning from it really works. It's the scientific method after all, trial and error. And the best and arguably the only way to achieve a goal. So now I'm learning to see failure as an experiment, an opportunity to learn, to figure things out, rather than just it to be the end of the road. It's a chance for me to pivot, to adjust, to try different things, and just keep moving forward. And even if I don't achieve everything I dream of, well, at least I have no regrets, at least I tried. And that's worth something in itself. So that's where I am right now. I'm still figuring things out, still learning to be patient with myself. I'm still reminding myself that my worth isn't tied to how fast I succeed or if I succeed at all. As a side note, I am currently working on a vertical slice for my game, which is also known as a demo, after working on a short prototype for a few months. What you see on the background is the making of the 3D model of Jane. She's the protagonist of my game. This is like the 5th version, and hopefully will be the last. I'm actually liking a lot how she's starting out. I think these designs goes a lot better with her personality than the previous ones. I plan to finish this demo sometime this year, but you know how these things go. Creative projects always take much longer than expected, so we'll see. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. Really, it means a lot that you took the time to listen to my thoughts. If anything I share resonates with you, I love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever felt this pressure to hurry up and succeed? How did you deal with it? I'm very curious how you deal with these feelings. Let me know in the comments. I would love to have a real conversation about this. And if you enjoyed this video and found it meaningful, consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really helps support the channel and it lets me know that you want to keep watching this kind of content. And with that said, thank you again for being here. Take care of yourself and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!